you doing today?
Good.
Yeah?
Very good.
Awesome. Well, we're sitting here to discuss about some real estate topics, hot topics and things and so. So let me ask you, first, what do you specialize in and how long have you been in this industry?
I'm basically a off-plan property specialist. I'm basically an off-plan consultant. I've been doing this for about 5 years now, almost. And yeah, it's been a crazy roller coaster ride.
Indeed, it must have been. How do you think the industry has changed over the 5 years in terms of, say, buyer expectations, in terms of even, the kind of investment opportunities that have come up, and so what are some massive transitioning trends that you've seen?
Well, to start with, I think we've seen a crazy shift in prices from the time when the developers were literally begging to sell their product to a point now where the population has increased so much in Dubai, and I mean the figures really speak for themselves. Where today we're short of homes. Like this is where I am seeing Dubai expand, and honestly, the next milestone that we're seeing is 2033, and after that, the next milestone we're seeing is 2040, because Dubai has really big plans to expand, especially towards the south side, where there is much more abundance of land and many more communities coming up, specifically with the new Maktoum airport coming on full throttle, with the design being approved and Emirates shifting their entire headquarters to that side. We are looking at
Dubai South as being the new thing.
Dubai South being the center of Dubai. And then downtown becomes like on the north side completely,
Wow.
So earlier, I remember, I've been living here for 20 years myself. I remember earlier that we used to stay, I used to stay in Gises back then. I'm a Gises boy. So I used to stay back then over there. And we used to travel from there to Business Bay. And we used to be like, wow, this is so far. And then suddenly Marina started coming up, which was another 15 kilometers away. And then JLT started coming up. That was another 12 kilometers away. And we were like, who's going to go till there? Like, that's so far. And today, look at it. We're looking at, from Business Bay to Maktoum airport is about 50 kilometers away. So we're looking at that kind of expansion happening.
So you know what? I've been raised here as well, and I
Right.
remember, when we used to go to the trade center,
Right.
we used to really flaunt that to our friends.
Yes.
We're like, you know what? Listen, I've been to the trade center today, and
Yeah.
and we're like, oh my goodness, you've done something.
Yeah.
So you're a Gises boy, I'm a Sharjah girl.
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
we were like, I've spent pretty much, I think till 12th standard I was there.
Right.
And then there's this whole evolution of the center of Dubai
Yeah.
that keeps changing.
Changing, yeah.
So I think now this is a question I think people would really want to know, and me especially as a person who's considering buying real estate. The thing is, the concept of downtown or the center of Dubai keeps changing in every 10-15 years. Okay, initially we had the whole trade center area that was really concentrated. So we had the Emirates towers and so on. So people were actually looking at getting properties and looking things there. And then we moved to downtown where we're looking at the Burj Khalifa and so on. So that became the center. Now we have Dubai South. That's becoming the center. So
In due time. Right now, if you ask me what the center of Dubai is JVC.
Okay.
It's JVC.
So it's pushed on
it's
further.
just pushing towards that
Yes.
side. Like I said, the south side is absolutely flourishing.
So then how do you make your investment decision? Because every single time, your whole concept of the center is shifting and the popularity. Do you think it really has a massive impact on the price appreciation or anything of that sort? Or do you think predicting that, this would be the future then, buying or investing properties has a really big thing considering the trends keep changing?
See, anything that's not been built yet
Yeah,
always has a room for capital appreciation.
sure.
Always. So if you're talking about a ready property today, and if you get really good capital appreciation on a ready property, then you're very lucky. It's very rare that we see that happening now. But anything that's not built and the developer is launching a project, be it any part of Dubai, you're bound to get capital appreciation. That's just how it works. Because something that's not been built is starting at 1,200, 1,300 per square feet. You have the potential of, you have a buffer of at least nothing doing 700 per square feet buffer you have. I mean, you look at, and I say this to all my clients as well. You look at New York City, you
Sure.
look at Hong Kong.
Yeah.
All of these cities have a center downtown. And today, if you compare the prices of a central Hong Kong downtown or New York City, Manhattan, New York City, and then you compare it to Dubai, the downtown of Dubai is still very undervalued today.
Okay.
It is still
I
very
agree.
undervalued.
I agree.
And its potential is still to grow. So
Sure.
as the city grows, the prices grow.
Yes.
And as the city expands, the value of the properties which are already built and constrained in a certain portion of a land will also increase. So things like these take time. But this is the way the expansion is happening, and this is where we're heading to. And to get population increase in Dubai, Dubai is doing everything in its power to make sure that's happening. So I think Dubai is always a good idea to invest. This is what I would
That's
say.
very interesting. And I mean, we do see an influx after the expo and so on. Influx of a lot of tourists. There's a lot of branding of Dubai. And
Right.
obviously, Dubai spends a lot on its branding
Yes.
too. And we have a lot of first time buyers now looking at investing in Dubai. This could be the local population. So, generation like yours and mine who are actually now started building that capital and looking at investments,
Yeah.
that. And then we also have people from foreign lands who want to invest here. So let's talk about some advice for first-time buyers in Dubai. In your opinion, what do you think they should be careful of or wary of, or what are the things that they should be doing?
I think it's very important to deal with an agent or a broker or a property consultant, whatever everybody calls themselves. It's very important to deal with a realistic person, somebody who does not throw out random figures or just kind of follows a trend of everyone saying the same kind of figures. It's very important for the client to deal with a person who's done his research thoroughly and then only advise the first time buyer as to, you know what, I think this would be better compared to this. I do this with a lot of my clients. In fact, last week I closed a deal which was a first time buyer as well. And we did for like 5 days in and out. I was just with this gentleman trying to show him different projects, different areas, and explaining him as to what is the USP of each area. So when you get into details, people really like that.
Sure.
And I think it's very important for a first time buyer to know the details with a person who is extremely experienced in this spectrum. If you want an advice, what I would say is that let the first time buyer, whoever the first time buyer is, let him come and do his research completely. And then let the agent add the value to his purchase agreement, like his whole, from the time where you meet him to his signing of the SPA. It's very important. That experience really counts.
Correct. How do you think, say if there's a buyer and obviously he's not dealing with one agent a lot of the times. He's dealing with multiple agents. Okay. Now, what do you think really, is a differentiating factor for a buyer? What makes him deal with one agent and leave out the rest?
Like I said, we're living in a place where jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. So the idea of having a platform of social media where you can throw your content out and let people know this is how you are, this is what you do, this is where you want to go, and this is your journey, this is how you deal with clients, these are my client testimonials, these are what my reviews are like. I think all of this is and then obviously the service that you give to the client firsthand is going to only translate to more referrals. So I think that you should do all of these things just so that the client can also feel secure in a way where he knows who he's dealing with.
Correct.
Even if I am completely somebody else in face to face in person, my social media is talking more about me, about myself to my client than I am saying to my client, So credibility is a big factor here. You need to build credibility.
What are some of the developers you recommend people to explore when they're looking for properties here? Like some known brands that you say that you can just literally blindfold
Blindly.
yourself and trust
Which developers?
developers.
So each client, each buyer has a different approach.
Sure.
If you're a buyer who loves quality finishing, then Shoba is my first preference.
Yes.
Because their quality is just exquisite. Like, it is brilliant. And they really explain to you as to why. They're a little pricey
Yes.
compared to the rest of the market, but they really explain as to why they are pricey.
They're pricey, yes.
And they give a justification to the whole process. They have a whole sales gallery and inside where you can actually see what is going behind your house, what are the materials being used for your house. So, I'm a detail guy. I just love the whole idea of having that concept of having detailed presentation to any buyer that's coming into Shoba to show them that this is what we do. And they're a backward integrated developer, so everything is basically in-house, which is just fantastic. So the timelines of delivery, even if you buy an off-plan property, are on time. Their quality is exquisite. Yes, you do pay a little bit more, but I think it's all worth it in the end.
Correct.
I think the product just speaks for itself. So that's what it is.
So Soba is your choice.
Shoba is the first choice in terms
sure.
of the person who loves quality and finishing.
Sure.
Obviously, if you want to make a good capital appreciation, now is the time to start investing in Dubai South.
Sure.
If a client comes and tells me, I want an off-plan property, I have this much amount of money, and which is, hopefully it's a substantial amount of realistic figure where he can buy a property. My first preference would be to be telling him that, you know what, it's a desert out there right now. And this is going to be a full-fledged master community. This is where you should be putting your money into. And then wait, we say this, I say this very often, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. So just put in the money, have some patience, wait for it to appreciate, and then we as brokers only will come back to you and be like, you know what, now is a good time to sell. I really think you should go ahead and sell it. And if you agree to it, then we can make another transaction. And this is also one of the topics I want to touch actually. A broker can really make double the money from one property. Because you sell for example, you sell a property, a off-plan property to a client. That client wants to resell or rent out that property. So you can be that broker who gets dedicated to that property, takes up the property exclusively if you have a relationship with the client, and eventually either resell it, make another 4% off that, and plus the 4% or 3% or whatever the commission slab is from the developer off plan. So the developer takes care of you, and then once you resell the property, the buyer and the seller can take care of you as well. So I really feel you can maximize on this. A lot of brokers, I've seen myself, a lot of brokers sell an off plan property and they think they've just, but it's important to maintain that relationship between the client and you so you can further down have another transaction from the same property. It's very important.
I think that's a really important point because especially with real estate, people have this myth that client retention is nothing.
Yeah. No.
Once you've sold and this person's not going to be doing things in some time.
Yeah.
But I think the point that you've mentioned is so valid that you go back, when the time is right, you assess them and then you make commissions.
Yeah.
You make more commissions.
I mean, we're in a service-based industry. You got to understand that as a whole. As a whole, we're in a service-based industry, and a client can walk into a developer's office directly and pick up a property, whatever he wants. But a broker will actually give you comparisons, market insights, really price point per square feet comparisons, and then we know what the market's all about. Like, we understand, and we have trainings every day, we learn every day. So we are very well aware of what developer, where, how, which project, which community, which area, which is flourishing, which is, switching off completely, which is, So there are a lot of things that we take care of, and this is what our learning base is supposed to be. And we take all of this information, and then we go to the client, and then we tell them that this is what it is. And it is so sad to see that clients sometimes just don't respect that.
Sure,
So
indeed.
this is another topic that I want to just little bit just touch and go, that clients really don't respect brokers, which is a very sad thing. And I feel like we do so much hard work for you guys just solely because we want to make sure that, this is my approach. We want to make sure that we want you to make money as well, and we want to make money as well. So I say this to all my clients. I'm like, thoda paisa ab bacha loge, thoda paisa hum kama lenge. It's very simple.
That's right. That makes absolute sense.
So yeah.
Any final takeaways? Anything additional you want to mention here?
Just to who?
To our listeners who are buyers, who are wondering where to. So we've talked about Dubai South, we've talked about off-plan properties and the capital appreciations and so on. Anything in particular they should be wary of, and perhaps something that they should keep an eye out for?
Buyers?
Yeah.
Dubai is going to flourish like crazy in the next 15 to 20 years. If you need to put money anywhere in the world right now, it has to be Dubai. Because this country is giving you everything that you can ask for. And it's always a good idea to invest in Dubai. You will make money. And yeah, obviously, call me if you want to.
101%. Great stuff. All right. So we end the podcast here. Thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast.